You for that bird team today?
I'm
Which
ready,
one?
man.
Which
I'm
one?
ready. What?
The red and black one?
Come on. There's only one bird,
It's
really.
only one?
I mean, so I was watching the Ravens game yesterday, and you'll never guess what I heard over the TV.
What'd you hear?
Ravens, Ravens. Dude, is that a
No, you did
violation?
not.
Is that a fucking violation?
No, you did
Oh, I
not.
did. I absolutely did.
You need to write Goodell today and straighten that
I mean,
shit out.
I've never heard the Ravens do that chant before, ever.
No. Really?
Shit you not, bro.
I need some receipts.
Complete violation.
I need to see the receipts with tape.
Let's see if anybody else heard, man. Let's just Google that shit
The
for a second.
gall. They act like they don't know, right?
They're going to find out this year.
They're gonna find out.
They're going to find out. Philly's going to Baltimore December 8th. We'll see which chant is louder in the stands
Mm.
because I'm fairly certain all of South Philly will hike down 95.
Yeah, if there's any legs to that shit, I could see it for sure. Philly fans travel well, particularly since they got that chip.
I mean, here it is. It's on Reddit. So I was not the only thing. I was not the only one.
Wow.
Except they were complaining. It was a Jets fan complaining.
A Jets fan
Yeah,
complaining.
yeah. In the Reddit chat, the Jet fan is thinking Jets, Jets. I mean, that's that's been a thing for a while, so I ain't mad at that one, right? I like saying just end the season. Jets, just end the season.
Right.
You know,
I concur.
I know you would, but I was flabbergasted. I was like, there it is. It's on somebody. Yeah, somebody posted on Twitter. It's not going to be nice.
I'm still experiencing a little bit of disbelief, although I know it's true. I can't imagine why they thought that that would be an acceptable thing to do.
I mean, it's not like we have the license and the what do you call it? We don't have the patent on
It
spelling it,
don't
right?
matter. That's like Jalen Hurts going out there saying, "Let's ride," or
Oh,
some shit
oh.
like that.
So
That's
let's
what
just
that's
continue
like,
this
right?
conversation.
Or that's like
Dak
the Bengals
Prescott,
saying, "We them boys."
Dak Prescott in the last week has clearly said keeping the main thing the main thing.
Mm,
Who says that?
Who was that? Belichick, right?
No, that's Jalen. He always
Oh, is
says it.
that Jalen Hurts?
He always says it. He's been saying it since
Ah,
day one.
you
Just
know
keep the
what's
main thing the
interesting? That's
main
a
thing.
term that I've used for many years, and I didn't know that he was using that.
I mean, a lot of people use that term, but as
Yeah,
far
but
as
but but it's been
NFL
synonymous
players,
with him, is what you're saying.
you know, it, it, Dak, you got your thing. Like, what's he? Let's get ready. What's he say at the hike in the huddle? Let's go. I don't know, whatever he's
No, he
fucking saying.
says, "Here we go."
Yeah, yeah, you got that.
Yeah,
Keep that
he
shit.
got that. He ain't
Keep
been
that
going
shit.
nowhere lately, except to the L column. But
So someone said to me yesterday, last I saw, Dak didn't play a defense, right? They gave up 44 points. They sure as shit did. But he threw two picks, right? Which led to points. And if they don't throw those two picks and sustain drives, logic will tell you that the Saints don't put up 44, right? The more ball
right,
control you have, the better off it's going to be, right? So
I agree.
stop They paid this man $60 million,
last week.
and he looks
Cash a
pedestrian.
check, right? He cashed a check?
Oh, yeah, he cashed a
Yeah, he
check.
cashed a check.
Yeah.
He
He looks
cashed a check and he threw up a
pedestrian.
QBR 78.3 at home against the New Orleans Saints. Alvin Kamara lit them up.
Yeah.
Lit them
4 tutties, man. 4 tutties. And I know you
3
don't
rushing, 1 receiving.
It's just,
and he averaged almost 6 yards per carry.
he's going to have one of, and he's not going to have 4 tutties every game, but I think Kamara is due for one of, like, he hasn't been the Alvin Kamara of the old, but the Saints haven't been the Saints either, man. Like, I know we're 2 games in, but they put up 91 points in 2 weeks.
They have.
You know,
and we talked about this game last week.
Yeah, we did.
And I said I thought the Saints could go in there and beat them.
You sure did.
I didn't expect this, right? But, it's a dome team going to another dome. And Derek Carr he's not a pushover. He's a decent quarterback.
Yeah.
And you put him in the right situation and he can flourish. And here we go.
Here we go.
And not for nothing, the fall off in defensive production when Dan Quinn left the Cowboys, while I'm enjoying a lot of it, it's been pretty steep. It's been pretty steep.
So last year they played without Diggs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this year so far they're playing without Bland. I mean, is Bland that fucking good that they have dropped? Like, they didn't drop off this far last year without Diggs. They were still a solid defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you can handle Micah Parsons, you can handle the Dallas defense. That's the way I feel about it. Unless he is in there and being disruptive, I think you can handle him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who'd they beat week 1?
It was Cleveland.
Come on.
They played Cleveland week 1.
No offense.
I want to take a quick look at the stat line for that particular game. Because I was trying to do a little bit of research before we got started here tonight, but my day has been pretty full and I simply wasn't able to. But I do want to take a look.
For which game? Dallas, New Orleans?
Yeah.
I mean, Derek Carr only threw the ball 16 times.
He only needed 11 completions for them to listen. When you have a running game that was as effective as theirs was, that's all he had to do. That's all he had to do. And Derek Carr, listen, hold on 1 second. I want to just take a look at one thing here real quick. So week 1, they played the Cleveland Browns. They dropped 33 points in Cleveland, which honestly, I was a little surprised that they scored 33 because I really like Cleveland's defense. They're pretty good, right?
Yeah.
But week 1, there's usually a rust factor that all teams are going to experience. So, all right, whatever. But you still saw a drop off in their production defensively. Now, week 2, you brought up Micah Parsons, and I saw a nice shot of him sitting on the bench with his head in his hands. The typical Cowboy shot that Tony Romo and Dak Prescott are infamous for putting up there, right?
Yep.
But we got to see Micah Parsons do it this week. Now, Micah Parsons, week 2, zero sacks, 0 tackles for loss. He was pretty much non-existent for this game. He had 2 tackles. And unfortunately, on NFL.com, it doesn't provide you pressure rates or anything like that.
Nah.
So I can't see how effective he was in that regard. On a Gen Stats, you can see all of those detailed layers of how the plays unfolded and the other contributions that don't meet the normal stat line. I don't have that information available right now, but when you're giving up 5.8 yards per carry, you're getting gashed, bro. And what does that do? That opens up the field so that you can go, check this out. You're right. Derek Carr, he only completed 11 of 16, but he had 243 yards. That's an average of over 22 yards per pass. Granted, there's a lot of yak in there. Don't matter. Alvin Kamara had a big play over the middle. I forget how many yards he got on that one play. Probably like 60 yards or something like that. So a lot of that was baked into that statistic. But when you throwing up numbers like that, when your running game is producing almost 200 rushing yards in a game, it makes it real easy on a quarterback. And that's what we got.
I mean, it's I know. Again, we're 2 games in, but the Cowboys look average to me, man. Average.
Cowboys doing what Cowboys do. They
The,
cowboying.
yeah. The Rams look a lot worse than I thought they were going to be. Right. So let's count them out. So you got Seattle in the West. They pretty much have that division, right? Who else? Oh, Niners. Niners looked pedestrian yesterday.
Niners look pedestrian and God, why can't I think of his name right now? Debo. Just what did I read about him? He's injured and is going to miss a week or something like that. He's dealing with an
Debo,
injury.
I know Cooper Kupp got hurt.
Cooper Kupp's hurt, the Rams. But I think Debo, I read something about he's got an injury situation that he's dealing with right now.
Missed multiple weeks with a calf strain.
Calf strain, that's what it was. That's
McCaffrey's on the IR.
Mm-hmm. Which don't matter because that undrafted running back, he's playing well.
Yeah, I don't, they're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball, right? Like if you have a line and a decent running back, like he's gonna get yards at a pretty good clip. But he's not, is he as effective as McCaffrey coming out of the backfield? Nope.
Right. Right.
Debo was a big loss, and Ayuk, I think they overpaid for Ayuk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I think they were going to get George Pickens from the Steelers in that trade, right? Like he was traded to the Steelers. I don't know what the Steelers were giving up, but he was traded. But he showed up at practice and got a hold of the coach, and they sat down and banged out a deal in 2 hours, no trading, right? Like they were literally getting ready to pack up his locker. Bye. And I think they overpaid him. I don't consider Ayuk like a top tier, right? Top of the echelon receiver, So we'll see. So Pacheco, he's got I think he broke his leg. He's gonna miss some time.
Yeah. I didn't hear about that, did he?
Yeah.
That's terrible. Wait a minute.
Fractured his leg.
How about Tua? I can never say. How about Tua? Did you see the hit?
I watched
that was self-inflicted.
Yeah.
I was telling my wife when that happened that I can see 4 years from now, Tua being out of football, maybe sooner, and the neurological damage that he suffers from CRT is so bad that he becomes the poster child for the movement to increase player safety and design better helmets for these guys. I can see it happen because like when his bell is rung, unlike anybody else I've seen, he damn near has neurological seizures on the field. And every time It is
every time.
deeply concerning.
Every time. We've seen him cripple up 3 times. And if that word's not okay, it's whatever. Right. But like we have seen him cripple up 3 times. And I don't think I've ever seen that in football. I mean, and
Yeah,
and we've seen people get their bells rung over the years.
sure.
You and I have been watching football for a long time.
Yeah,
We've seen people get concussed.
yeah.
The only time I've seen that is in the UFC, right?
But it's
That's
even worse because when Tua
bad.
gets his bell rung, he loses his motor function.
Yeah,
His arms start twitching and doing
yeah.
things that's just not normal.
He did that. He was reaching
Yeah,
out. His right foot was like pointed inward in an awkward position. It was wild, too.
deeply concerning. I mean, I can see his family. I don't know if this happened or not, but I could only imagine if that were my son. I'd say, listen, son, I know how much you love the game, but maybe go into coaching or something because I can't, I cannot in good conscience not say to you, I am deeply concerned about you. It's just
He,
not,
yeah.
it's not good.
He's
So we'll see
he
what
said he's
happens with
not
him.
considering.
Oh, you
He's
know what
not.
was the craziest thing about that, Mike? It was Damar Hamlin
Yeah, no.
that he ran into.
Yeah.
And we all saw what happened in that Thursday night
And he
game.
could have slid, dude. He had the first down.
Yeah.
He could have slid.
Oh, he's such a reckless runner as a quarterback. It was just, ugh, it was hard to watch. Hard to watch. Baltimore 0-2? Really?
I blame
Really?
that one on Lamar, bro. I don't know if you watched that game, but I did. And we all know what Lamar can do when he runs around, right? They've got to stop having design run calls for him. Because it's the RPO and he keeps it every fucking time. And every time I'm watching the guy that could have gotten the ball run through, you know, parting of the Red Seas, right? Like every time. Plus, you have Derrick Henry, dude. Stop. Stop running. Like he ran multiple times and just, didn't do it, right? And then even the time, like the last play of the game, he ran. I mean, I thought it was a good call, like just run and then start laterally. But if he zigged instead of zagging, I think it's even more exciting. But then they just blew that. I mean, chances are they're going to blow it anyway. It's a wing and a prayer. But I don't know, man. I think there's something off with his vision. He made some poor
Well,
decisions.
I understand why they continue to make the call because he has been extremely effective on those options.
Yeah,
He's been very good for a number of years, and he not only is he normally very good with making the decision whether to keep it or hand it off,
yeah,
he usually knows how to slide without getting hurt,
yeah.
run out of bounds, how to be tackled so he doesn't miss any games as a result of injury. So he's pretty good at what he does in that regard. And not for nothing, but Lamar Jackson, he's a pretty good quarterback too. He's got an arm, he's pretty accurate, he makes good reads, he checks out of plays that he needs to. And every now and again, you're going to find yourself where you're not looking as polished as you did in games past. I mean, I think every quarterback goes through that. There's more tape on, there's more film on you. Defenses are schemed up to take away some of the things that you like to do. And so here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say if there's an 0-2 team in the league right now that still has a very good chance of doing well, because I'm still not, as much as I like the Bengals, and we talked about this a couple of shows ago, I think that they're like an old Buick. They got to get warmed up, and for the Bengals, it doesn't have. They're not warmed up till week 5, right? But the Ravens could get real good real quick and stay there, and I can still see that happening for them. So, you
I
know,
think the Ravens are a real good football team,
I
like
do too.
real good football team.
Yeah, yeah.
But they
I
have
think they've been
got a
good for a long
gauntlet
time
ahead of them.
too.
Their upcoming schedule is not easy.
Well, they play Dallas next week, if I'm not mistaken.
They play Dallas.
So I'm all about Baltimore. Matter of fact, anybody who's watching on the podcast, send me a Ravens hat today, and I will rock out with y'all next week. Okay, I will do that. 1 week only. But yeah, I was a little surprised that they were 0-2 at this point. You know, and not for nothing, I think that they're much better than the performance that they've put on the field so far.
They should have beat the Chiefs, and they blew the game yesterday.
A toenail's length away.
Blew the game. So then
What
they got
a great
Dallas,
game that was too.
Dallas, Buffalo, Cincinnati, then the Commanders, then Tampa Bay, then Cleveland.
And Tampa Bay has proven themselves to be a pretty good team this year.
Yeah. I mean, they went into Detroit, shut Detroit down, handled them.
And it wasn't flukish.
No,
they
not at all.
Their business. And not for nothing, like Baker Mayfield, I used to take pleasure in talking shit about Baker, but Baker has played very well. 12 of 19, 185 yards, TD, and he ran for one.
Yeah.
And he ran for one. So that's a decent game. He did have a pick. I don't know the details on that pick, but he had a pretty good game against a really good team who a lot of people have projected to go to the NFC Championship and perhaps even the Super Bowl this year. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are playing well. Now, their division, I mean, you got New Orleans just lighting shit up. Carolina ain't shit. They ain't going to be shit for years to come. And then Atlanta, I don't even think we know what Atlanta is, but I don't think many people have expectations of them being a playoff team. So that division between what New Orleans is doing and Tampa Bay is doing, it's going to be fun to watch and see how that all works out. But if I had to pick between the two, I don't know. I would probably give the edge to Tampa the way that they're winning. I mean, Alvin Kamara, I just really think that as you start to become an aging an aging running back, that you just start to get a little tired as the season goes on. Mm-hmm. And I like Derek Carr. As much as the gaudy numbers are that they're putting up, I haven't seen them do that consistently enough to believe in them. Tampa went to the playoffs last year and looked good, right?
Yep.
New Orleans, I don't know yet. I don't think I will know for sure until maybe week 4, week 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you get to week 5, you kind of know what's up, right? Like I even look at last year, right? Like the Eagles, I mean, I think the Eagles were a good team. I think it was internal. But like they were just winning games, right? And my thing was, this is what winners do. They just win games, right? They'll put it together. And then everything exploded, right? But like they were, you knew they were a good football team, right? Like they were going to hang out.
Yeah.
And you knew that by week 5, without a doubt. You know, so we should know whether or not New Orleans. I think Tampa Bay is for real. We'll find out about Minnesota too, but they look scary. You know, I mean, they handled San Francisco.
Saw that coming.
Fucking Sam Darnold. Let me say it for all the podcast watchers out there. Sam fucking Darnold. Right?
Looking like Joe Montana.
Sam fucking Darnold. So my prediction, what was that, 5 or 6 years ago he got drafted? I said he was
6 years ago. Monday Night Football, his debut against the Miami Dolphins, his first pass as a professional was a pick 6.
Yeah. I said at the draft, because there was a lot of quarterbacks in that draft. I said I think he has the best upside, right? Like I think he has the best pro opportunity, right? Like he's a gunslinger, though, right? Like he was a gunslinger at USC. It kind of helps to be that when you got Justin Jefferson,
I
right? And
mean,
he's got
97-yard touchdown, longest in that club's history, right?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's crazy.
Pretty special for Vikings fans right now. They're definitely over delivering at this point. So, kudos to those guys. They're balling out. They balling hard. Malik Willis got his first win at the
Yep.
start over Anthony Richardson. Good for him. Jacksonville. What's happening in Jacksonville? They are not looking good. They look like they're
Trevor
lost on the
Lawrence is
field.
not. He's pedestrian. That's my word of the day.
Pedestrian.
He's mediocre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mediocre.
He gives you these moments where you're like, that's the Trevor Lawrence I saw in college. And then he reverts back to this Jacksonville Jaguar who just, let you down.
Yeah.
Arizona opened up a can of whoop ass on the Rams. We touched on
That
that
was
a little
shocking
bit.
to me, right?
That was
Like I did
shocking.
not
We
see
both
that coming.
picked the Rams.
Easily.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, losing losing Cup, and also having the Coop
Mm-hmm.
already out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know who's their running back. Kyrie and Williams, I think. Everybody thought
I don't
he was a
follow a
top
lot of
5
the
running back.
West Coast games. Our market's a little bit different. So Blake Corum and Kyron Williams. Yeah, they did not do much at all. 53 rushing yards for the day.
Combined.
53 for the day. Then my boys taking a big fat L in Washington. And if I don't know how, I don't remember, and maybe you can help me out with this, Mike. I can't remember the last time every drive a team had turned into a scoring drive. Everyone, not one punt offered. Help me with that one.
I mean, it's happened, right? It's happened.
Yeah, it snows in June every now and then too.
Broken clocks are right twice a day.
Twice a day.
One day Atticus is going to talk shit and it's going to make sense. Stuff like that.
We should be lucky.
It's. I mean, that's a good Google question, man.
That's just crazy, bro. I've never seen that. I do not know. Now, here's the crazy part about it. 7 drives, 7 scores, 5 red zone visits from that same team, and kept them out of the end zone every time. So on one hand, it's like, this is East Stroudsburg South football team. On the other hand, it's old Madden once you get inside the 20. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Packers, 2013.
2013. Oh, so you only got to go back to a time that predates the birth of my daughter.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah. I got you. Okay.
The Bills did it. I don't know what year that was. They didn't say what year.
Does it predate my birth?
Josh Allen was the quarterback, so no.
Oh, so okay, so it was fairly recent.
No, it happens, but it doesn't happen often.
I just thought it was just like I thought the defense played terrible, and I think that the personnel management decisions are questionable. How do you not have a kicker? Somebody who can kick a field goal for you in an NFL game, and you only dress 52 players for the game. Yeah. Some of the decisions that's happening from the coaching staff, it leaves you with questions like what's really going on there. But I think overall the team put on a better display than they did week 1 by far. But how do you lose a game where you kept them out of the end zone? They had far more penalties than you. Excuse me. And
You have no kicker.
you
That's how.
you have no kicker. Not only do you have no kicker, but you have a turnover at the worst part of the game, one of the worst parts of the game. And I don't know if you noticed this, but I certainly did. They were in 12 personnel all day, the Giants, and Malik Neighbors is going to be a problem. Drew
Oh, dude.
Phillips is an extremely good third round pickup at the cornerback position. He's going to be a problem. But how do you run 12 personnel all day? 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, 1 running back, and the ball is only thrown to 4 different players the entire game. Not one tight end got a reception, and the running backs only got 1 catch. How do you do that without turning your quarterback into a one-dimensional play? And 18 of your 28 passes went to 1 guy. You double him, and you've just effectively shut down that offense. So I got questions.
Daniel Jones, a little bit more than 50% passing, right? 178 yards on 16 completions. Did have a couple tutties, so that was nice to see. I mean, you had no kicker. You probably win that game with a kicker.
You win that game with a kicker. I have no question in my mind. You win that game with a kicker.
But you beat a bad Washington Commanders team.
But you didn't beat them.
Yeah, and you didn't beat them. You know what I mean? So it's you better hope Malik. I mean, that's what happens when you pay a quarterback $40 million as a placeholder, right? Like, I think Daniel Jones gets more money if they believed in Daniel Jones, right? Like when they signed him to this deal, I think it was, everybody's going to talk shit. Oh, $40 million paying Daniel Jones 40. 40 is kind of cheap for a starting quarterback in the NFL, right? So that it's not Gardner Minshew cheap, but it's still cheap. Like he was a first round 6th pick of the draft selection, right? And they missed on him. But I said it last week, right? There is a hell of a class coming out this year. You have options at quarterback, right? To draft the next guy, right? And not pay Daniel Jones another cent after this year, right? Because it's all option it's team option after this year, right?
Yeah. Well, they're gonna they'll definitely have some dead cap, but it's still very doable for them to move away if they're going to draft a quarterback. And here's what I think you do. If you are the New York Giants, and I don't want to spend too much time talking about them because their season's over anyway, but in draft is, we can start talking about that week 10, whatever. But if you're going to move on from Daniel Jones, I don't think you cut him. I don't think that at all. I think you draft a guy. You draft a guy that you want. Give up what you got to give up to get him, but you draft a guy that you want. Once you get him in here, you keep DJ on the roster. You may even start him the first 5 or 6 games of next season. You slow walk this guy in. You don't cut a guy that you're paying all this money to and take a cap hit when he can still be functional on your roster. And you're still, because listen, not for nothing, he'd be probably one of the better backups in the league if you're going to have him as your backup. Now, will he be happy about that? Probably not. Probably not. Will he understand? Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. There's enough heat going around about his quarterback performance. And granted, a lot of the reasons he's evolved into the player he's evolved in wasn't his fault. He's played behind a horrible line since he's gotten here. None of that shit matters at this point. So that's what the way that I would address that situation. I'd keep him on the roster, get my money's worth, have him be the starter next year, regardless of who you draft until at least week 5 or week 6 of the season. Then you bring your new guy in. I think that is such an underrated philosophy of grooming quarterbacks that if shit, they did it with Jalen Hurts, right?
Yeah.
He's sat for a year. And look at the
that's
kid sat
that's
there
an
and he learned.
anomaly today, though. You know what I mean? Like that's not
It
the way it
shouldn't be.
works. I
You
agree
throw
with you.
quarterbacks in there and you crush them. You kill your draft pick because you mismanaged it. And that happens way too often.
So it's way too early to overreact, right? But I'm going to name three rookie quarterbacks playing right now, starting. Jaden Daniels, 23 and 29 yesterday, some shit like that, right? For like 2.25. It's a productive day, right? No tutties, but it's a productive day. Bo Nix throws an ill-advised pick six. Not pick six, pick in the end zone, right? Like ill-advised. You didn't throw the ball where only the receiver can go get it. And you have to.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The other guy, Caleb Williams, I said it from the beginning. The game in the NFL is going to be too quick for him. Like, you saw some flashes. The kid's got skill, right? But you also saw his number one receiver get visually frustrated on a pass on the sideline. Like it wasn't even close to the receiver. And all he had to do was put it on the outside shoulder on the sideline, catch first down, we keep going. And they probably win that game. And there was multiple passes like that in the game. Multiple. And it's too quick. All you got to do is put a little pressure on him and you're going to get to him. He's going to make some plays, right? He's an athlete, but he keeps getting hit the way he's getting hit. Like he looked defeated at the end of the game. Like, what the fuck what am I playing?
Yeah.
And to your point, we continue to see that with these number one draft picks, right? Like maybe it'll take a few years for Caleb Williams, maybe a couple different teams, right? That would be shitty for the Bears, but they did get 5 starters out of trading their number one draft pick. So, it works out. They got the rest of the team is fairly solid. We'll see what happens with Caleb Williams, right?
Yeah.
But, more than 3 seconds in the pocket, he's in trouble.
Well, if you're lucky to get more than 3 seconds in this league anymore, but
exactly.
Hey, it's probably an unpopular position to take to sit your number one draft pick for a half a year. Sit your number 2 draft pick for half a year. It may not be the method that a lot of teams would use, and I think they're wrong for not using it. I think when you take a look at history and those teams who have sat their quarterbacks and let them learn behind the starter, by and large, they've outplayed their counterparts. Tom Brady's another one. Tom Brady sat behind Drew Bledsoe until Drew Bledsoe got hurt, and they brought him in. And Drew was not happy. He was not happy. But
that happened twice to Drew in his career.
I didn't hear you. What?
That happened twice to Drew in his career.
And that's exactly why he was not happy when it happened in New England.
It happened in New England first, then it happened in Dallas.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was Dallas first. Okay. Yeah, maybe I had him reversed.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
So let's talk about this game tonight. Kickoff's at 8:30, right?
Yeah, 8:20,
How are you
8:30.
feeling going in?
I mean, I feel pretty good, right? Like I don't like that AJ's sitting, but I'd rather have him sitting in week 2 than playing through a whatever it is, hamstring. and missing a lot of time. So, there's going to be a lot of electricity in the stadium tonight. Nick Foles is in town. It's his retirement ceremony. I don't know if they're putting his number up on the wall or anything like. I have no idea, but there's going to be a lot of excitement in the stadium. I think Philly really plays to the stage, especially night games.
They do. They really
So
do.
does Kirk Cousins too. But Kirk Cousins had the mystique when it was the Redskins, right?
He did.
When he went to Minnesota, Philly handled him in Minnesota. He still had some games, but Philly handled them, right? In regular season and the playoffs. So I think this is I think it's going to be closer than I'd like it to be because I'd like to go to bed. I got to get up and drive to Jersey tomorrow.
You're going to be able to do that?
Yeah, I have to, bro. There's no choice, right? It was either leave tonight and be in a car for the game, or leave first thing in the morning.
No, I'm saying you're going to be able to sleep with your boys playing. I couldn't sleep.
If it's 30-0, hell yeah, I could sleep.
Oh, that's different, right? Yeah, right. I got you.
And with AJ being out, you still have Devontae, you still have Goddard, you still have Jalen, you still have fucking Saquon, right? And then now you have Dotson. Dotson's a good fucking receiver, dude. So he moves into the number 2 slot, and we'll see what happens.
What's going on with AJ Brown?
AJ Brown's got a hammy. He's out. I think they're fine. I think they're fine.
Where do you think Jalen is mentally after being a turnover king week 1?
I think he recognized he made a couple bad throws.
Yeah.
Right? They were just bad throws.
I think that was week 1, whatever. You chalk that up to week 1 type stuff.
I mean, they talked so much shit about him not throwing an interception all preseason. This was bound to happen.
Here's the thing. It happened, but you still won the game.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
And he still threw for like 270.
278.
He had a good game. Outside of the picks, he had a good game. Couple tutties, a beautiful dime to Saquon.
He's healthy too, which is a good sign.
And he made plays in the fourth quarter. When it counts.
Yeah. So. The good thing about Barkley is Barkley in pass pro is pretty good too.
Yeah.
So he can help in that regard. I mean, Jalen has good escapability anyway. He's just really good. So if he finds himself in trouble, he knows how to get out of there. And then he's also a good receiver out of the backfield. He can, the screen game, you can definitely use it if you need it. And the guy knows how to make a miss. You get him one-on-one with a linebacker or one-on-one with a safety. I feel bad for the safety and for the linebacker because Saquon Barkley, I can remember watching videos of him when he was in college, and he was surrounded by fans, teammates, whatever these people were, and he's got the ball, and he's got to get through an impossible scenario by himself, no blockers, and did it. I mean, just an unbelievable talent this guy was. This guy is. And what am I talking about? Was. So to have him is he's worth two good players on another team.
Saquon looks healthy. We will never know how hurt Jalen was last season. No one's ever going to come out and say, right? But there is a noticeable difference in just the way he runs the ball and his speed. It looks like he's got his speed back, which is key, right? And I think he makes he makes a couple throws in games that are just, this dude can play quarterback, right? And he's a winner. And he seems a little more relaxed this year. So I mean, I'm expecting it to be closer tonight, but I give the Eagles the edge. But Bijan Robinson scares me a I think that
Yeah.
dude is.
I mean, you guys gave up a ton of rushing yards last week. I think it
Yeah.
was like 163 rushing yards. Passing, I mean, defensively, you guys weren't where you want to be yet. Again, you still got the win first game, so I don't know that that matters that much on the first game. Like you said, you guys love to show up when the lights are the brightest and play good football. So you got a night game in Philly at home. Weather's good. The team's excited. You got Nick Foles retiring as an Eagle tonight. Is that what's happening tonight? He's retiring as
Yeah.
an Eagle?
Yeah.
Okay. Retiring as an Eagle tonight. And you got a fairly healthy team, minus AJ Brown. I think that you could be minus two of your players and still have a formidable offense that you're working with. I know you guys want to see more defensive pressure. I know that,
Yeah.
you know. And not for nothing, Atlanta's not Green Bay. Green Bay was a much better opponent than the Atlanta Falcons. If like we just talked about that division, the Atlanta Falcons is the third best team in their division. The third best. The only one worse are the Panthers, and that's pretty obvious.
I mean, the Panthers are playing for the number one draft pick. That's what they're doing, you know. And they're,
Hold up. And they just benched Bryce Young today,
yeah, they
didn't they?
did. Yeah, they did. We'll see what
Andy
old Andy
Dalton,
Dalton can do. We'll see what Andy Dalton can do. I mean,
the gingerbread man. What?
he was a franchise quarterback at one time in
That's
his
right.
career, man.
That's right. I
So
don't
we'll
know that
see.
he was the problem, though, Bryce Young. I mean, he was part of the problem. I think they got huge issues down there in Carolina.
Huge
They're
issues.
going through a complete reconstruction in
How does
Carolina.
Miles Sanders go from what he was with the Eagles to not getting re-signed to like the backup running back in Carolina? It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. What a difference a year makes, huh? 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't think he was a bad running back. I thought he was a decent running back behind a really good line,
Yeah.
but I didn't think he was number two on the worst team in the league
No.
type of running back.
Behind Chuba Hubbard? Come on. Chuba?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your predictions for tonight?
You know I don't do predictions for the Eagles game. We're gonna get a dub.
You want me to give you one?
Yeah, do it.
All right. I think the Eagles are going to put up about 35 points tonight, and I'll give the Atlanta Falcons 17.
Ooh.
I have each team turning the ball over one time. I don't know who or at what point in the game, but
Interception or
35,
fumble.
17 birds. Birds are going to look like the birds do on Monday nights. They wearing their blacks tonight or what?
No, man, they're going green on white.
Green and white. Okay. Don't matter. Don't matter. They know how to perform under the lights. I think they're going to have a nice performance. They're going to send Nick Foles off and give him a standing ovation. And you guys are going to be feeling real good sipping your free coffee tomorrow.
That's right.
That's what I think.
All right. I'll take it, man. I'll take it.
Yeah.
All right, man.
So that's a show.
Yeah. I think Chris is in for next week on Monday. I'm going to try to line people up a week in advance.
Cool.
You know?
Chris is next week for Monday. Who's his team playing? Let's see.
Ooh, there's 2 Monday night games next week.
Oh, that's right. We're playing the Browns next week.
Oh, that's so Chris on the show could be awesome.
That'd be great. I get to talk shit to the man.
Yeah.
And then I think the following week, the Giants have a Thursday night against Dallas. And the Giants are historically bad at night games. So that'll be a bloodbath. So we got 2 bloodbaths for the Giants coming up.
Okay.
So I think Beck is on his way. He's probably purchased his ticket already, his flight, ordered his in-flight movie, picked his meal for the
Yeah.
plane.
I mean, you got options, man. I like Beck the best, although they didn't look too good this past weekend. I like that dude from Alabama too, Milrose. He's pretty
I
good.
haven't started looking yet.
And then Shador Sanders is looking pretty good too.
Yeah, he had a rough outing last weekend.
Yeah.
I didn't see him this past weekend. I recorded the game. I didn't watch it yet, but yeah. Here's my thing. I don't care what they give up to get the guy that they want, but get the guy that you want.
Yeah.
Get the guy that you want. Don't get, well, this was the next best thing, because that's what they did with Shane Bowen, our defensive coordinator, which was their third choice or maybe fourth. And it's showing why when you let a Washington Redskins team score on every single drive. That's what you get. So I don't care who you want to be your next quarterback, your franchise quarterback. I don't care what you need to give up. Get them, give it up, but get the guy you want. Don't get the other guy. Do not do it. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
So, all right. So, good luck with your game tonight.
All right, my man.
Hope everybody ends the game injury free.
I mean, that's the key, especially week 2.
Yeah, and I can say to you, good luck tonight, and mean that, because we're out of it, and I'd rather see you guys do well than the Cowclits any day of the week. And they're self-destructing anyway. I think their run is pretty much over at this point. I think they'll still be fairly competitive, but I think we're about to start seeing some 7-10, 6-11 seasons from the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe not this year.
I don't think it's this year. I think they're still. I mean, they still have a talented roster, right? But at some point in time, the bank is closed, and you can't build a team around 3 guys and a bunch of nobodies. You know, you just can't.
And the mileage on these guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think about that with Dallas. I think that Philadelphia's got to be real close to the point where they got nothing else that they can give without trading some serious capital in terms of players in order to make some of the moves that they want to make. So I think the window on a championship for the Eagles is this or the next two years, maybe 3. And if they don't get it, they're in trouble too.
Their roster is pretty solid for the next 3 or 4 years. Salary wise,
here's the problem. You see, here's the problem. You have to factor in the injuries and the mileage. Treadwear's treadwear.
Yeah.
I don't care how good you are today. You are not the same player you were next year or the year after or the year after. If you're over 27 years old, you're not. So, we'll see.
All right. 31-17, you heard it here, folks.
I hope it's an entertaining game, but I hope that the score is 30-3 by halftime so you can go to bed for your trip tomorrow.
I hear that, man. Yeah.
All right,
my brother.
Fuck your team.
Fuck your team. Go Birds.
Have a good night, bro.
Later.
Peace.